I'm Eleanor Ward, 30 years old, living alone in a sixth-floor apartment in Midtown Nashville, where morning light filters through the big glass windows and someone plays piano in the unit below every weekend. It took me nearly 6 years to get here. No help from anyone, just extra shifts, instant noodles, and nights I passed out on my desk. And yet, in one single sentence, everything I worked so hard to build was toppled like a glass of red wine spilled across a white tablecloth. The Ward family dinners happened like clockwork, the first Sunday of every month, in a cream-colored 2-story house in Franklin, where my parents have lived for 35 years. I arrived 10 minutes late on purpose. A small act of resistance, a reminder to myself that I wasn't the obedient daughter who nodded at everything anymore. My father, Charles, opened the door and gave me a limp hug like it was a formality. My mother, Margaret, was bustling in the kitchen with her signature roast. My younger sister, Lila, was already sunken into the sofa, scrolling through her phone like no one else existed. She's 27, beautiful, charming, and always arrives with a fresh crisis. She was heartbroken over a fiancé she'd known for less than a year. "Eleanor, take a seat. I just reheated the roast," she said without looking up. I nodded and walked into the dining room. Fresh tablecloth, glasses lined up perfectly. It all looked staged, like a play. And I had a feeling tonight's script had already been written. We'd been eating for 20 minutes when my father set down his utensils and cleared his throat. The unspoken family signal that something was about to be announced. And it was rarely good. "Lila needs a temporary place to stay," he began in the same tone he used when reading the stock report. "We talked it over. She'll be moving into your apartment for a while." I nearly stabbed my hand with my fork. "Excuse me, my apartment?" "Yes, it has 2 bedrooms, my mother added, pouring more wine. "And you're always traveling for work. That office of yours is going to waste." No one thought to ask me. I asked, trying to keep my tone even, though my throat burned. Lila looked up and gave a smirking smile. "Just a few months, until I get sorted out. It's cramped at Mom and Dad's, and your place is perfect." "Makes total sense. My office isn't for rent," I said flatly. "And I don't recall agreeing to any of this." "We'll move Lila in next Saturday," my mother continued. "Your dad borrowed Uncle Greg's truck." It felt like watching a movie I didn't audition for. Everything was already cast and rehearsed. Except the lead character, me. "I don't agree to this," I said. My mother looked up sharply. "This is family. Families help each other. Then why not let Lila sleep in your living room? Or Aunt Carla's basement? Or rent her own place, like I did when I was told to grow up?" Silence. Lila scoffed. "Wow, you don't have to be so dramatic. This apartment is mine. I bought it with my money. It's not shared property." "You're overreacting," my father muttered. "Temporary is still a violation when done without consent." No one answered. But the message was clear. I was still the silent, manageable daughter. But tonight, I wasn't her anymore. Driving home, a cold weight sat on my chest. No one kicked me out, but I didn't need permission to leave. I'd always known the quiet kind of exile. Growing up, my role was clear: the middle daughter, the responsible one, the girl who never caused trouble. I patched my own clothes, filled out my scholarship forms, called job hotlines after my allowance was cut. My sister Amelia, now 34, studied interior design, changed majors 3 times, took a year off to find creative clarity, and still got a resort graduation party. I remember pinning decorations backstage while Amelia smiled for the camera. Now she lives in Austin in a 2-bedroom condo bought by my parents. Her work is erratic. Boyfriends come and go. When she pulled from Mom's retirement to start a creative studio, Mom just sighed and made her favorite meal. Then there's my brother Evan, 24, still hasn't finished college despite switching schools 3 times. Every failure is a learning moment. But when I refused to host a cousin last year, Mom said I was unnecessarily cold. Favoritism wasn't loud. It arrived in drops, like water seeping through the walls. And by the time you noticed, the damage was already deep. I turned off the kitchen lights and stepped into my office, the extra room, as Mom called it. My vision board for a renewable energy project, my books, little reminders that I was not someone's shadow. The thought of Lila scrolling on her phone under lights I chose, sleeping on a bed I built, made my stomach twist. Not out of hate, just that I didn't want to sacrifice anymore. I emailed the building manager, subject line, policy on temporary residents. Because if they still didn't see me as whole, I would prove it. One step at a time. I used to think endurance was a virtue. But in the Ward household, silence wasn't strength. It was consent. I remembered being 14, when Mom declared I'd be babysitting Denise's twin toddlers all summer. Waking at 6 a.m., missing swimming and dance classes, learning to suppress every complaint. When I earned a scholarship to the University of Minnesota, Mom handed me an email from Aunt Sandra, asking if her daughter could stay with me. That year, I slept in a sleeping bag on the floor while Sandra's daughter used my bed, my things, and brought over her boyfriend. When I protested, Mom said, "Don't let people think you're petty. It's one summer. Don't be dramatic. One summer. 3 months. 92 days of being a guest in my own life. I learned to shrink, to serve, to stay out of the way. And eventually, it became habit. But this apartment was the first space that was mine. So when Mom said, that office is just going to waste, my whole body clenched. Because they didn't misunderstand. They just didn't care. I contacted the building manager, May Whitaker, and learned of a clause: any guest staying longer than 14 consecutive days must have written consent. Perfect. I framed it not as a family matter, but a legal one. I offered the room to Mason, a colleague whose apartment was under repair. He was professional, respectful, and signed the necessary documents. I installed a camera facing the door. 3 days later, Mom texted, "Your dad rented the truck. Lila's picking curtains. Get the room ready." I didn't respond. Just messaged Mason, "Family may show up. Stick to what we agreed." Saturday morning, motion alerts pinged my phone. I watched as Charles, Margaret, and Lila arrived with boxes. Mason opened the door, held up the signed agreement. The building manager appeared, skimmed the form, nodded. My parents left, defeated. Later, texts poured in. "You can't be serious. I feel betrayed. Mom. You're shaming the family. Dad. I have nowhere to sleep tonight. Is that so hard to understand, Lila?" I sent screenshots to Katie, my best friend. She called. Let me guess, emotional blackmail, guilt, and salvation demands. Exactly. Sophie even posted a photo captioned, "Thrown out while mourning a breakup. Thanks to the one who loves me most." I muted them all, because I wasn't obligated to listen anymore. Then came the cafe meeting. Neutral ground. I arrived early. My parents came together, Lila a few minutes later. No hugs, no greetings. Just tension. I'm not here to argue. I'm here to say what should have been said. Long ago, I began. They tried justifying. You live alone. You had a spare room. It made sense. To whom? I was never asked. I was told, like always, "You're overreacting." No, I'm setting boundaries I should have been taught. Lila, surprisingly, apologized. Genuinely, I thought you'd say yes. You always do. But I got too comfortable being prioritized without responsibility. My mother whispered, "I just wanted you too close. Then you should have asked, not forced." My dad nodded slowly. "Maybe we need to rethink how this family treats each other." Lila pulled out a rental listing. "I'm viewing this place tomorrow. If you two can help with the deposit. Clear space. Not distance. Not exile. Just boundaries." 3 weeks later, a photo arrived. Lila holding keys in her own apartment. Signed it myself. "Thank you for pushing me to grow up." My reply, "Proud of you." When we met next, she said, "I started therapy. Because if someone like you needs help, maybe I do too." We talked. No past dragged up. Just a new start. As for my parents, change was slow but real. Mom asked before assuming. Dad stopped giving orders and started asking questions. One day, over coffee, he admitted, "When you left, I thought it was rebellion. Now I see maybe you were just the first to break free." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Now, when I let a call go to voicemail, it's not avoidance. It's choosing myself. When I offer to help at a holiday, it's by choice, not obligation. The limits I set didn't tear my family apart. They rewrote the script. One afternoon, I stood at my apartment door, hand on the lock, almost unfamiliar with the peace inside. No suitcase. No voice message asking for another sacrifice. Just silence. And it belonged to me. Because real love begins with a well-timed no.